at some of the guys who did early statistics, Dr. Louis Cap, and he worked with Dennis Vandermeer. So he was always much into statistics. Bob Love from Kentucky was big into statistics, has a really good system he uses. Just pretty much just your shot selection is based on the score, which helped you with statistics a lot too.
Let's get into that history, and especially CompuTennis, because it was the picture that somebody shared of digging their CompuTennis laptop out of their garage finally. This is all thanks to the pandemic that somebody located their CompuTennis, and then we're talking because of that. So let's go back to those early days, because I was blessed to have started with statistics as a heavy part of my introduction to coaching. And I was always a stat geek. I mean, I would watch a baseball game and somebody would go 3 for 4, and I couldn't wait for the paper to come out the next day to show the increased batting average of the player that I was rooting for. Just always loved that stuff. I used to have like entire teams, statistics sort of almost memorized in my head. I've always loved that stuff. On the other hand, the other phrase that I like, statistics are for losers. I think the point is you can learn from your loss if you've got some statistical stuff behind you. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about that, the origin of Bill Jacobson and Dennis and Dr. Louis working on that.
It was really fun to watch him. At the time, I was the executive director for the PTR. So my office was right above the Vandermeer Tennis Center. And Bill and them were always working on statistics. And Dennis was a member of the Men's Society, so he's big on numbers anyhow. And it was interesting because he was saying, he would challenge Bill about, what about this? What about that? Does that really matter? And at the time, of course, the systems were so big, they were kind of cumbersome to deal with everything versus today's modern method. But all the stuff we see now came about because of Tilden, and those guys are big on statistics too. I can see Bill Tilden be a big one on that. But Bill Jacobson was the first one who did computer stuff that really kind of set things in motion. And they did CompuTennis on TV. They'd post the results and post the percentages on TV, sometimes off Bill's stuff.
One thing that I loved about that program, and I don't know that we have this sophistication working right now, is that you could split out the stats from ad court to deuce court. And there was one match that there were actually quite a few matches where we won close matches because we had the stats and they didn't.
Right.
But one particular match that was kind of amazing, it was a really tight match. Our guy was down a set and a break, but it was really close. And then we discovered that he was returning 80% of the serves in the deuce court, and then he was getting a lead in the other guy's serve game, but then he would get overly aggressive in the ad court, and he was only returning 50% of the serve. So he's giving away a lot of points. So we just asked him, I just asked him to be a little more conservative in the ad court, and really wait for a ball he could really crush before trying to crush it. But he did that, and then he won going away after that. It was really simple how one simple adjustment made such a big difference, because he went to, returning more than 70% of those returns in. And that's a big number. I mean, that's a 20% increase at least. So what are some of the other things about CompuTennis that were unique at that time?
I think just making everybody aware. I mean, it is obviously that's for high-level players and things like that, but it started to make other people aware of statistics are important. Like you were just saying, the difference between, what would you say is the most important point in the match? Probably 30 off, because that's going to create add in or add out. So add in and add out are obviously big points, but they're caused by the deuce points. Well, statistics can show that out and prove it. So you can use it as a coaching point.
So we can argue about that, because I'm a big believer that every single point matters.
Oh, they obviously do. Yeah, the first point's huge.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? I think it's 95% of all matches are won by the player who simply wins more points in the match.
Oh, yeah.
It's at least 90. And then when one player wins 51% of the points, they win at least 95% of the time, right? Yep. And if you win 55% of the points, you will win 99% of the time. And the only outliers there are, let's say you want to set 6-0 and then the other player rallies and wins, that's the only time,
Right.
you know, that you could lose a match is after you've won a set 6-0, having won more than 55% of the points. So there are these outliers, you know, or people getting injured mid-match or getting tired or nervous or what have you. So there are these outlier matches, but it's the bulk of the matches. It's not the outliers, because one thing that makes me crazy is when people sort of have a seatbelts can kill you mentality. Yeah. We wear our seatbelts because overwhelming majority of cases, the seatbelt will save your life.